Hello and welcome to another session of Reminiscing with History Makers. I'm joined today by Jackie Barberini. Jackie, thank you for joining us.
Sure, no problem.
So for starters, when did you join APCO?
Around 2008, 2009, so maybe, was that 15 years ago? Yeah.
And during your tenure with APCO, tell us about some of the agencies you worked for, positions you held, and some of those responsibilities.
Throughout my membership with APCO, I've always been with Redwood City Police Department for this second half of my career in dispatch. So for the last 15 years, 16 years or so, I've been with Redwood City Police, and that's in Northern California. Yeah, so the Bay Area.
And describe for us what drew you to join APCO. Was there a particular person or event that was influential?
When I lateraled over to the police department in Redwood City, part of my responsibility became more of the radio communication side of the house, the actual programming of radios and stuff like that. And in Northern California, they have a big influence on the radio side of the house and the technical side. And I knew if I started going to those meetings, the networking in there at the meetings would be amazing. They had a really big vendor support, and so I could get a lot of help from the experts because that was not my expertise. Operations was really my side of the house, my expertise, and they've been great ever since, and they've just kind of taught me and helped me, and so that was my main purpose for going to my very first meeting. Yeah.
And can you describe some of your APCO activities at the state or national level during your time with APCO?
Sure. So I was invited early on to participate in an occupational analysis, and so that was for quality assurance inside the communication center. And so then I joined that committee as a subcommittee of the standards committee, and then I also joined the standards committee. And so we write standards for the training, for APCO's training, and became the chair of the occupational analysis, and that's what I've done for many years for APCO. And it basically takes all of the rules within the communication center and allows us to create a training standard for every role in the communication center. It's not a very well-known thing that APCO does, but it's pretty important. It kind of is one of the basic roles and the basic idea behind where we create our standards. And it takes experts from around the world, yeah, I guess, and around the United States, and allows us to pick their brains all day, and they help us write the standards for APCO.
Would you say you had a favorite in all of those?
Within the occupational analysis, probably the radio technicians, because we took the technicians and we did GIS, IT, and radio. That was one of the first ones that we did. So that was really fun to be able to see that kind of come to fruition and be created, especially GIS one, because it was difficult, very technical. And those guys are so brilliant. Bringing them all together and just watching them kind of work together was pretty cool.
Would you say your APCO membership has had a direct effect on your career in public safety communications?
Absolutely. It's always the first place that I go when I'm looking for something, if it's a standard or I have to, a question that I have about something that we're doing in the comm center, or if I know there's an expert in the field. So for my networking, I may know somebody is really good at something or something's going on in another comm center. I know how to contact somebody, and I always do that through APCO, whether it's through their PSC Connect or through one of my contacts. I'll know how to get a hold of somebody. So absolutely, for sure.
What do you like most about APCO?
I would say definitely the information sharing, along with the networking. It's been great for me, fantastic. I've been able to gain a lot of lifetime friends, and also just so much knowledge. I mean, I would not have been able to been as successful in my own job if it wasn't for the amount of information and just at my fingertips. I could just call anybody in the United States and get help with whatever I needed.
Is there anything that you would say that APCO does better than anyone else?
Oh, definitely standards. Absolutely, hands down. I think they are the standard writing body for 911 communications. They have the experts at hand. They take experts from inside the communication center and bring them together to the table to make sure that we are state-of-the-art writing, whether it's from a technology standard or an operational standard, making sure we bring the experts together to make sure that we get it right. And then they put it out for public comment. If we don't get it right, we go right back to the drawing board and do it again. So I think they do the best. They knock it out of the park.
So now with the advent of NG911, do you think there's anything that APCO needs to do to stay current with some of those emerging technologies?
They need to tap into our youth in the comm centers. I think they are technically ready to take on that challenge. It is going to be a big deal. Obviously, it's turning everything kind of upside down, and it's scary for some of our operators who have been in the comm center for a long time because it's going to change their world. So they can tap into our dispatchers, telecommunicators who are in the comm center who have been there a long time, who are not really sure about all the technology, and taking that youth that are coming in, our new generation, and having them teach those of us who have been in the comm center for a long time tricks and tips and just kind of ways to learn the technology. So for sure, we need to tap into our young telecommunicators and the youth that we have coming into the centers.
And lastly, what stands out to you as a significant contribution during your time in office?
I would say at the chapter level. So I've been a chapter president and currently the executive council member for Northern California, and those are all have been a lot of fun, and it's great networking. I get to meet people all over the United States, but I think most significantly has been my role in the occupational analysis, because I've been able to meet people also from around the country, and I think that we have made some really significant changes and been able to update standards so that we continue to change with the needs of the comm centers, and I think that's what's always needed, to kind of always look back and make sure that we are doing the right thing for quality for the communities that we serve. And so I think for me, it's just getting down to the nitty-gritty of making sure that we have the best standards, whether it's when we go to ask for anything at the legislative side, or just looking at new products within the 911 center. We have to make sure that we have done our due diligence and created nice, good, strong training standards for everybody working in there.
Great. Well, once again, this has been Reminiscing with History Makers. Jackie, thank you so much for sharing with us.
Sure. Thank you for inviting me.